Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, brothers and sisters. I trust you well. So let's dive right into it, another edition of Naseeha sessions. Today we're discussing quite a touchy and sensitive issue, if I'm being real. This is an issue that we've been getting emails about for about a year now. We've been functioning for about a year, so we got these emails right from the start. And we have not been in any position to answer them. Why? Because of the sensitivity that revolves around this issue. Secondly, because of the taboo. Thirdly, because it's like we just don't know really what to say and how to advise someone in such a situation. But it got to that point where the suffering of the people became so much that we were like, forget the taboo, forget the sensitivity around this issue. It needs to be addressed, because you can brush it under the carpet as much as you like, but people are going to carry on suffering. And if someone doesn't stand up and do something about it and take action, it's going to continue and it's going to continue to destroy lives. Now, the only issue was we didn't really know what to say, what advice to give. So, one call away, my sheikh, had to call him up and I explained to him the situation, and he gave me the answer with regards to what a person should do if they find themselves in a situation where, one, they are being molested inside the home, child molestation inside the home. Number two, if they are being physically abused inside the home. Now, I'm going to basically answer these questions and give the nasiha according to what the sheikh gave to me in light of two specific incidents. And the incident that kind of set this all off and really motivated me to go out there and find the answer was when a sister sent an email over to us at nasihasession@gmail.com, and please keep your emails coming in, we're trying our best to answer everything. But she sends an email across last week explaining that her brother is a very abusive and violent man. He abuses him. He abuses his mother physically. He beats his mother and he beats her, the sister. And it's not mentioned if he beats the father or not, but it sounds like he probably does. But the point is that the father is in a position where he can't really do anything. Either he's scared or he's just refusing to take action. So she's explaining that no one's able to hold him back. One day, this particular day, he beats the mother so horrifically, he batters and bruises her face. The sister feels so much sadness looking at her mum. She picks up the phone and she calls the police immediately. And the police come, they arrest him and they take the brother away. Now, the mother and the father are extremely angry and annoyed at the sister. How dare you call the police and get the police involved? They took your brother away, so on and so forth. They threaten her. The mother says, if you call the police again, I will leave this house. I will disown you. Me and you have nothing to do with each other. Now, to make matters worse, the police releases the brother on bail the next day. The police inform her, if he messes with you again, we will take him away. Now, she's thinking to herself, maybe the brother would calm down. He's just been arrested. But she gets a phone call after her school. She's only 16, by the way. So she's either doing her GCSEs or she's just started her college. So she's very young. So she finishes school and she gets a phone call from the brother. And the brother says, do not come home. For if you come home, I will kill you tonight. And I know I will go to jail, but I will go to jail after having killed you. So don't come home. So now this sister, she's stranded in the middle of the street. She doesn't know whether to go home or what. She messages us again saying, brothers, please respond. I am in a situation where if I go home, I'm going to get killed. If I don't go home, it's like she ran away from home. And if I call the police to save my life and save my mum's life, my parents are going to disown me. So I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't. So what do I do? The answer that I'm going to give you is from the words, from the mouth of my sheikh himself. Because I don't touch upon fiqh related issues. This is not of me. I'm literally copying and pasting what he said. He explains, the Sharia, it comes to protect 5 things. Number 1, your religion. Then your soul, i.e. your life. Then your wealth, your honor, and your lineage. Here, sister, or those who are going through such a situation, your life is at risk. Your life is at stake. It may be that he's bluffing, that he's not really going to kill you, but you're going to suffer some grievous bodily harm when you get home. But I really wouldn't take that risk, because if the sister was, or if you were to be killed in such a situation, it wouldn't be the first time that a crazy family member lost control and ended up abusing their sibling. Especially when the parents are saying, don't go call the police. That person's got no limits. His anger can get the better of him, and he can end up taking away her life, or your life in such a situation. So in light of this, the Sheikh says, if you have an immediate danger, where you know that he's going to do something to you right now, then there is no sin upon you on picking up the phone and calling the police. If the danger is not immediate, maybe he's made some violent threats, or you've got reason to believe he won't take it seriously, or maybe he's on holiday, or he's away somewhere and there's time between the alleged threat, then you can maybe get a family member involved. You can tell your dad, speak to him. You can tell your cousin, not your cousin, so you get your uncle, the next closest mahram or wali, guardian, next closest family member you can trust to get involved. Maybe a family friend, an uncle, local community members, the imam, you can get him involved so they can try and sort the situation out. But in your situation, you don't have that time. It is a matter of urgency. And even if you did have time, your dad's not really looking to help you because he can't. In such a situation, you have to call the police. It becomes your religious obligation, the Sheikh explained. Because a life is at stake, not just yours, but your mother's. And a person who can beat his mum can do a lot worse out there on the street. If you can beat your mum, she is the one who is most deserving of of goodness from you. If you can beat her, then there is no one in the society and community that's safe from you. No one. This is a criminal, and a criminal needs to be put away. The Sheikh explained that in the Sharia, a criminal is treated as a criminal, whether he is a brother or not. And the reality is that under Islamic law, he would be treated and given a much worse and severe punishment than he would here in the UK. But by the fact that he is living in the UK, through his conduct of living and residing here, he has agreed non-verbally to basically undergo the sanctions and punishments of this country if he transgresses the bounds, if he engages in criminal activity as he has. So that's him, right? You have to protect yourself and protect your family in that regard. Now, what if your parents tell you, we will disown you? I mean, how do I say this? Your parents are doing a sin in such a situation. And respectfully, you have to go against their wishes. Because if a life is at stake, whether it's your life or not, you kind of have a religious obligation to do it now. So, you could either have your parents disown you, or you could have Allah disown you. You could either call the police now and take him away before any further damage happens, or you can wait for further damage to happen where the police and the ambulance come. Because they're going to come either way. They'll come either way. You can either deal with it now, or let it get worse. So pick Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala over them. And in the worst case scenario, you can leave the house. The Sheikh explained that the reason why the woman stays in the house and is not allowed to run away from home, part of the reason is because she's living with her mahram, several mahram, brother, dad, brothers, siblings, whatnot. At the same time, these people are supposed to protect her. But when you're in a situation when your brother, your mahram, is the one who you are in need of protection from, and your father, the other mahram, is not doing anything to protect you, then you need to seek protection elsewhere. But do you go to Tom, Dick and Harry? Do you just go to your friend's house? No, you go to the next closest relative who will be able to deal with the situation. Who will be able to deal with the situation and keep your family secrets and not expose them and talk them to town. Yes, it's embarrassing. But you're able to do that. You have to do that in a situation. You have to do that in such a situation. And if you don't have next closest relative, you go to the next closest relative, next closest relative, next closest relative, and so on and so forth. Now, the second issue was that of child molestation. A sister emailed us a while back ago explaining that she's been molested by her father. he's done things with her that are inappropriate. And now she fears that he will do something to the younger sister. She explains she's older now, so he doesn't mess with her like that. But the younger sister, he's trying to do things with her. Now I'm going to address this issue and the issue of someone who's suffering from this right now. The Shaykh explained. Number one, you have to understand that not only is this zina, it's a form of rape. And not only is zina bad in and of itself, and he is a married man, which makes it worse, but it's paedophilic zina to your own child. It's incestual paedophilic rape. That is amongst the worst and ugliest forms of fornication and adultery. You have to understand that under Islamic law, this man would be stoned to death. So any punishment that he gets in this country is not going to be anything like what the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have in store for him. This is a man who no one in the community is safe from. If he can molest his own child, he can molest other children. Usually you find these are the men who also cheat on their wives. And these are the men that go pick up them hookers, them hoes. Like for example, actually I won't mention the places, but there are certain streets where prostitutes post up. And people jump in the car and وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ odd hours of the night. I know personally we've been there and actually driven the pimps and the hoes away from these streets in some of the areas in West London, and we got on camera some of the kind of men that come to these places. There's these kind of men. Filthy, dirty, disgusting human beings. The Shaykh explained, if you are being molested in that way, or you are in fear, or you have a fear that it will happen to another sibling or someone else, you need to pick up the phone and call the police. This man needs to be put away behind bars. This man needs to be punished. This man needs to be taken away. He needs to be got rid of. He is a criminal. The mother is going to be upset. What kind of a mother is it that she's upset? A mother like that knowing, or when she comes to know that her husband has been violating her children, she needs to be first one to be like, yo, what's going on here? She needs to be the first one to take action and protect the child. The child needs to be her concern, not the husband in that regard. It may be, though, I understand some women are mentally and physically abused, that they're in a position where they can't speak out. They need help themselves. So you need to be the brave one, pick up the phone and call the police. You need to in that situation. That man needs to be put away. It may be that the man comes out of jail. It may be that what he did happened many years ago and you've forgotten about it and forgiven him and you don't want to take further action. If you feel like that, this man can no longer be with you. Like say family members come to find out, this man cannot be with you, alone with you. He's still your mahram, but he cannot be with you. He still, by the way, the Shaykh explained, he still has the right of a father. You cannot disrespect him now. If he is in trouble, this is the beauty of this religion, the high moral character that we try to attain, that even if someone is that unjust to you, you still have to show goodness to him. He's your father at the end of the day, even though he's a bad one. But you don't be a bad child. Do you see what I'm saying? So, the Shaykh explained, if there is a situation where the situation is bad, but not so bad that immediate action needs to be taken, then get family members involved. Maybe his brother, maybe his father, maybe his uncle, the next closest relative that will not expose the family affairs again and sincerely cares about the family, someone that they can talk to and address in such a situation. The reality is that it's going to be embarrassing for the family. Of course it's going to be embarrassing for the family. But, like I said, we can brush these issues under the carpet or we can address them. We can address them straight up. In such a situation, this is a prime course of action. And I advise you to undertake it. Now, my overall advice to sisters in such a situation, some of them, their life is such a hellhole that the only escape for them is marriage. Literally, the only escape for them is marriage. And sometimes I feel like just saying, like just go get married. But the reality is that in such situations where the woman wants to get married, especially at a young age, like 18, 19, 20, age is considered young, the parents are unlikely to get her married at such a young age. Sometimes they want to get her married to someone else of their own choice, want them to finish uni. Suddenly they care. They've been raping them their entire life, beating them, slapping them around, but now they care. In such a situation, the Shaykh explained that if the father is preventing you from getting married and there is no good reason, he explained that Shaykh Uthaymeen rahimahullah, he brought a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. He said that if someone comes to marry your daughter and he has good manners and good religion and he is and you don't marry, you don't allow the marriage to go ahead, the nikah to go ahead, then that will create fasad and fitna, corruption. So Shaykh Uthaymeen rahimahullah said in light of this, that if there is no good reason and your marriage, and they're not letting you get married off to this guy and whatnot, then what you do in such a situation is you go to your next wali, your next guardian, your next mahram, the next closest relative to marry you off. Because you need a guardian. You can't get married without a guardian. In such a situation, it happens at times that family members are scared. They don't want to go against the family. So maybe your brother will not back you then, or your paternal uncle will not back you, or your granddad or whatnot, your mahram will refuse to be your wali. In such a situation like that, the imam, the shaykh would become your wali. So you go to your local masjid and you explain this. There's no imam that will hear this, that will hear your situation, that you've gone through such rape and beaten and molested in the house. You just want to get out, and you found a man that can protect you and take care of you and love you and be your husband. They will not refuse, provided that your parents or your wali has rejected him for no good reason. Now with this, there is a disclaimer. That doesn't mean you go away, run away with your boyfriend. This only applies if the guy has good religion and good manners. You don't run away with any Tom, Dick and Harry. There's a massive disclaimer I put along with this. I don't want sisters running away messages like, brother man, you said we could run away. No, ban that. None of that talk. Yeah, and again, I'm talking specifically to sisters who can't live in their house. I'm not talking to those sisters who have it happy that, some sisters, subhanallah, right? They, some, or even brothers, but generally this happens a lot of sisters because we get the emails. One or two bad things happen and suddenly the whole world is against you and I can't live in this house. No, I'm talking about sisters who are being abused physically, sexually in the house to the point where it's like, it's over. They need to get out. I'm talking to those sisters specifically. Marriage is a viable option. And if you find a good man with good religion and conduct, you may be 18, 19, you're still at college, you're still at uni, and your parents say no, in that situation, they don't have a justifiable excuse. You go to the next closest relative or wali. If not, then you go to the imam or the sheikh. If no one else is ready to do it, then that happens. Now, with all of this, I tell you, if you have time to make any of these decisions, before you call the feds, before you do anything, I ask you to make sure you go, before you get married and go to the sheikh, I ask you to get one-on-one personal advice from a local counselor, from a local imam, someone in the family, before you take any harsh course of action. If there is time, if there is immediate action needs to be taken, you take immediate action, as I explained. Now, I have to be honest with you, I feel very strange telling you call the police, because I come from a jahili where we were on the roads, on a street culture, where we didn't respect the snitch. You have to understand that. I come from that background where there's a lot of stigma and the police, and even today, I'm not one of them prevent guys. I'm not one of them set out acts that's, getting paid on the side to snake people. Wal iyadhu billah. I'm not from amongst the munafiqun, inshaAllah. I'm not from amongst the hypocrites. Bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that regard. But I'm coming to you as someone who is looking at the Quran, and I'm seeing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, stand for justice, even if it be against yourself. Be with the truth, wherever the truth is. You have to understand that Shaitan taught Abu Hurairah radiallahu an to recite Ayatul Kursi. He said, if you recite Ayatul Kursi, like, shaitan will never be able to come to you. Shaitan is teaching him this. And the Prophet says to Abu Hurairah that he is a perpetual liar, but he has spoken the truth. The truth came from shaitan. The Prophet accepted it. So you are the truth. This is the difference between us and everyone else. Wherever the haqq is, we're with the haqq. Now, generally speaking, we know we don't deal with certain groups and whatnot. We stay away from certain people and certain kind of things. But in such a situation, the truth is the truth. The situation is in trouble. Her life is in danger. Her honor, her dignity is in danger. She's able to go down that road. Now, I just want to end with a final kind of like nasiha. If a sister is maybe like, you know, I don't want you to be in a position where you just like take the torture. Just take the sexual abuse. Because sometimes we find families where the daughter would just be like, you know what? I don't want to break up my family. I'm just going to take the abuse. Or I'm going to just take the beating. Or okay, fine, my brother will kill me, but my family's honor will be saved. You have to understand that you don't actually do much khair from that by taking that course of action. Because this man is a criminal. He can go out and do a lot worse to others. And you shouldn't have to go through that. The Sharia protects you. This man should get punished, and through that punishment, he should be admonished. Some people go to prison sometimes, not all, but sometimes they actually change. Especially Muslims. You know, it's weird, I know it sounds strange, but there's actually a strong Islamic community in prison. He will go to prison and be educated and probably come out more practicing and change his life, your brother or your father in that regard. They might actually change. So you'll be doing them a favor. And I know it takes a bit of guts, it takes a bit of strength to pick up the phone and make that call. Or to call that family member and say, look, we're being abused, we're being violated in our house, we need help, outside help. It might take a bit of guts and a bit of strength. But you need to go out and take that step. Because the struggle that me and you go through with our parents, alhamdulillah, many of us have been protected from such parents. Alhamdulillah, we are from amongst them. Alhamdulillah. But for those who go through these fitan, these trials, tribulations with their parents, know that what you go through with your parents is nothing like what the Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in went through with their parents. I give you the story of Abu Ubaidah bin al-Jarrah radiyallahu an. Abu Ubaidah radiyallahu an was from amongst the early Muslims and from amongst the greatest and most blessed companions of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He was a great warrior. The Prophet said he is the trustee of this ummah. Every nation has a trustee and he is the Ameen, the trustee of this ummah. This is Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah radiyallahu an. During the battle of Badr, when he took his sword out and charged against the enemy, he came with such vigor and passion and zeal, with such exquisite skill as a warrior, that the enemy was retreating from him. As he would take his sword and cut forward, they would move back. No one wanted to face the sword of Abu Ubaidah bin al-Jarrah radiyallahu anhu. So they would move away when he would progress and advance forward. But suddenly, in the battlefield, there is a man who stands in front of Abu Ubaidah radiyallahu anhu. And this man challenges him. But for some reason, Abu Ubaidah, he moves away. He begins to retreat. What is up with this one man? That when the entire section of that army is moving away from Abu Ubaidah radiallahu anhu, no one wants to face him, and he's moving forward, fearless like a lion, but one man comes forward and Abu Ubaidah moves away. He begins to retreat. Wow. So he starts fighting. But then this man comes back, and he moves away. And then he moves forward and he starts fighting. Then the man comes back. And this keeps on happening till eventually the man corners Abu Ubaidah radiallahu anh, to the extent where Abu Ubaidah radiallahu anh cannot move left, he cannot move right, he cannot go back. The only way is to go through this man. So Abu Ubaidah, he draws his sword. And he strikes the man at his neck, and his head falls down to the floor by his feet. And he looks down to the head of this dead man that has fallen at his feet. It was his father. He had to kill his own dad. He didn't want to. His dad gave him no other choice. It's war. It's either him or him. protecting the Muslims. That's what the companions had to go through. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not testing us with that. Protect your family. Get help. Whether that be from family members or worst case scenario, make that call. Keep your questions coming in, your Naseeha coming in. We're really trying our best to answer everything. nasehasession@gmail.com. And guys, you know that this production is only swift and as smooth as the funding that comes in, because we have to cater for media expenses. As I've said again, wallahi, not a single penny comes into our pockets from what you donate towards this cause. It goes directly back into the online social media da'wah. So please fund as much as you can, and we'll keep coming with whatever it is that we can. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Peace.